Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. Duandong River Wu's voice seemed to vaguely resonate within the main hall of the control room, which made the silence within the hall even more apparent. Dear Bug Master, Liu Ju Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, Jittery Sea Master, and Luo Feng were all going crazy, and their eyes were filled with agony as they struggled on. Dear Bug Master was in a dilemma amidst his struggles. To go or not to go? I am from the Holy Land universe, an eternal being, eternally free from annihilation. If I go, I will be at risk of being annihilated. But if I choose not to go, I will forego this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. How powerful is that ancient civilization? Shadow Dust Master squinted his eyes, and the single-eyed shadow behind him was flashing and flickering. Apparently, the ripples of uncertainty he was feeling were extremely strong. To be able to create the universe boat. Such a large quantity of items like the black-striped stone pillars were only one out of the many items within the universe boat. This inheritance that Duandong River Wu is referring to, even when placed within the context of that ancient civilization, must be one of a kind. What a valuable inheritance this must be, but for such an inheritance, the difficulty of obtaining it would be as expected. A chance. The one and only chance, one and only chance. Jittery Sea Master's eyes were filled with insanity. Bestow upon me the chance. This time, Liu Ju Master's perfect face registered traces of hesitation. All who were present were in turmoil. The same was true for Luo Feng, whose entire body seemed to be going out of control as his godly power raged and surged, producing waves in his surroundings. He had thought the fight to be for the boat of Mausoleum. Who would have expected that? The boat of Mausoleum was only a supplementary item. The more prominent part of it was that it contained the extremely powerful inheritance of the ancient civilization. The inheritance was certainly an object of great desire. Yet going after it also entailed the risk of annihilation. Luo Feng was aware that he might have another body. But given the means of this ancient civilization, who dared to make a remark like, "Those who covet after our line of inheritance must die," its punishment surely would not deal solely with one body. Luo Feng was silently considering his options. Should I go or not? I, Luo Feng, have gone through merely a dozen or more eras of cultivation. Even without this opportunity, I believe, with my power, I will be able to become a universe master easily. I can still become a universe master later, there is still hope. But the moment I accept this inheritance, I will be volunteering for a perilous adventure. Should I take the risk or not? Luo Feng was caught in a dilemma. I only have the confidence that I can become a universe master. But I am clueless about how I can become a universe master. Even if I do become one in the future, so what? At most, I can live for as long as 3 reincarnation eras. Luo Feng quietly mumbled, if I want true immortality, then I must achieve a successful breakthrough of a reincarnation era. What a pity. Throughout Universe Ocean, for countless eras, who has actually succeeded? Only the 2 Holy Land universes. Luo Feng recalled the individual space within the chamber of the Black Token, where he saw that smooth and shiny stone wall filled with information left behind by generations of masters of that space. First Master. Second Master. Third Master. Starting from 9 Mortal Master, to 5 Chaos Master, then to Luo Feng. There was a total of 20,295 Space Masters. As for the actual number of Space Masters before 9 Mortal Master, no one knew. Based on the current total, it was clear that an overwhelming number of reincarnation eras had passed. Endless reincarnation eras. And how many gifted talents were there? Merely 2 Holy Land universes. There will be Universe Supreme Masters from every reincarnation era, a few dozen of them. 4,000 of reincarnation eras or more, there must be so many Universe Supreme Masters who have emerged. Who could achieve eternity? Luo Feng raised his head to look up at the throne in that hall. His gaze was ablaze. This is the chance of a lifetime. That highly arrogant ancient civilization must have an extremely powerful inheritance. By my judgment, Duandong River Wu must be ranked at the top within the universe boat, so within that ancient civilization, this chance must also be very valuable. With this inheritance, I will be able to see a path that is much further ahead. A path that is higher than that of universe supreme masters. With the guidance of that inheritance, I will be able to achieve greater things and tread on higher paths. In that great hall, every one of them struggled with their own trains of thought. Suddenly, a foreign aura made an abrupt appearance. Golden Square Master, since you have chosen to come out, I will let you out, Sorcerer Sprite Master said coldly. But what choice you make is your own business. A man in golden armor from the Divine Eye clan appeared beside Sorcerer Sprite Master. This was Golden Square Master, who had been hiding within the palace true treasure all this time. Although he had not come out, he had been able to see and hear everything that had happened in the outside world very clearly. Naturally, he too would not be able to resist the temptation. Another figure appeared beside him. It was a strange, lofty figure covered in dark red, which seemed to be fully composed of blood-red bones, a great being from the skeleton clan. Red Lark, this is a choice that concerns life and death, but I will not stop or influence you. Jittery Sea Master said. Red Lark Master nodded. All of you appear to have your own helper, Liu Ju Master said with a gentle wave. Then beside her, a burly giant with 8 arms and a body that seemed to be made entirely of stones appeared. In a low and rumbling voice, he said, Liu Ju, if you say you are going, I will go. If you are not going, then I shall not go. Rock Giant Master. So, it is true that wherever Liu Ju Master is, we will find you Rock Giant there, too. Sorcerer Sprite Master snorted. Dear Bug, do you have a helper? Milky Way, do you have a helper? The Divine Eye clan, the Skeleton clan, and the First Ancestral God School all had helpers of their own. It was just that the number of helpers was usually limited to 1. In fact, it was common practice that, within the deep region of the internal domain, unless one was extremely confident, like Dear Bug Master, the great beings would normally choose to act in pairs. Like Red Hawk Master and Jittery Sea Master acting together, Shadow Dust Master and Sorcerer Sprite Master taking action together, and Liu Ju Master and Rock Giant Master taking action together. And for Golden Square Master, he simply just happened to be around when this fight was happening. Since I started roaming Universe Ocean, I have always acted alone, Dear Bug Master said right away. Luo Feng shook his head. I'm without a helper, too. Ha ha. 3 from the Divine Eye clan, 2 from the Skeleton clan, 2 from the First Ancestral God School, Milky Way, and me. Altogether, 9 of us. Dear Bug Master laughed out loud. I'm afraid this is not going to be an easy choice, but it is an opportunity that comes by once in a lifetime. Even within my Purple Moon Holy Land, I have never heard of such a mysterious kind of inheritance. There are some ordinary inheritances, but I suppose those are left inside by normal great beings and obviously not on the same scale as Duandong River Wu's inheritance. And when those normal great beings are annihilated, the little dangers that they leave behind are not major enough to threaten me. But this Duandong River Wu. He dares to utter such words, I think. Even if he has been annihilated, the methods that he leaves behind will be powerful enough to deal with Universe Supreme Masters. Dear Bug Master's eyes swept through the crowd, then said, Everyone, please be thorough when you consider your options. Just as everyone was going through an internal struggle, on the throne where all energy seemed to converge, the cyan-haired figure took form again. That was Duandong River. Have you all made up your minds after careful considerations? Duandong River stood up and slowly walked down, while keeping his eyes on the 9 figures below. Luo Feng, Dear Bug Master, and the group of great beings were aware that this was merely a figure left behind by Duandong River, and was controlled by something like an intelligence. The actual Duandong River had already been annihilated. Rise. Duandong River pointed to the ground and gave his orders gently. The hall was lifted and started to rise in an instant. A large, circular stone tile immediately rose up to reveal a deep hole. One glance into the deep hole, and, vaguely, One could see a sea of dark red with occasional, contorted red airwaves. If you are willing to receive that inheritance, you may go down, Duandong River said. I shall choose the heir to my pulse of Duandong River according to our own methods. What lays in store for you all would be various tests that you have to pass, and you shall gradually get in contact with the inheritance. The moment you start getting in contact with the inheritance, your path will be fraught with life and death dangers. If you succeed in accepting all the inheritance, you survive. If you are unable to receive the full inheritance, but merely receive traces of it, then you must die. If you are having cold feet now, you can leave right away. The gate will not shut after it has opened. You can even invite your fellow clans people and friends to try their luck. The more potential intruders, the better. This way, there is a higher possibility of finding the next Duandong River. Duandong River's gaze swept across the 9 concerned figures. Choose. After finishing his instructions, his form seemed to become nothing but dust. Then, with a slight tremor, he disintegrated to nothingness. The circular stone tiles floated up, revealing an endless, dark red passageway. To go in or not? Doomsday is near, yet I am given such an opportunity, Red Hawk Master said in a low voice. Based on the methods of that ancient civilization, I may be from the first reincarnation era, but it is also possible for me to become a universe supreme and break through a reincarnation era. Even the ancient civilization is unable to break through the restrictions. Once I get hold of that inheritance, it will guide the universe masters of my skeleton clan. When one of them is successful, we will all witness the birth of a third Holy Land universe. Ha ha. A stream of dark red light flashed and disappeared upon creating a winding line in the air. Then it flew right into the deep, dark passageway and disappeared. This is the only change before the impending doomsday. How can I miss it? Liu Ju Master smiled, transformed into a stream of light, and made her way in. Liu Ju, said a low and thick voice. If you are going, then I will go, too. Rock Giant Master followed without hesitation. He, too, transformed into light and flew in. Shadow Dust. Sorcerer Sprite. Husband and wife looked into one another's eyes and smiled. Let's go. Let's go. Then they, too, went in together. Ha ha. Golden Square Master let out a hearty laugh. I would have to die anyway. This is just a moment earlier. With that, he too went in. In a moment, all the great beings from the first reincarnation era had entered. Only dear Bug Master and Luo Feng remained on the outside. Are you going or not? Dear Bug Master looked toward Luo Feng. What about you? Luo Feng threw the question back. Dear Bug Master's gaze was airy as he commented, eternity. So what? The passions of my life lie in all those risky adventures. My clan will not be affected at all if I am gone. The Holy Land universe itself is an eternal existence. Throughout this endless era, this is an inheritance that is hard to come by. If I miss it, I will regret it. This risk may be the biggest one I take in my entire lifetime. Even if I were to embark on it and die in the process, I will still find it a worthy death. Ha ha. I will make a move first. Dear Bug Master transformed into light and flew right in. In the entire Great Hall, only Luo Feng remained. If I were to be annihilated, being a universe knight, I still have a chance of resurrection. The price of resurrecting me may be big, but I can afford to shoulder it. Luo Feng looked toward the dark red abyss. Initially, I wanted to get my golden horned beast body to take Star Tower and leave this place, but the moment I am annihilated, Star Tower will become an item without a master and will drift about the universe boat, where it might end up in some dangerous lands. Or even be snatched away by other groups of powers. If that is the case, I shall take Star Tower with me and try my luck in breaking through. With Star Tower, I have more confidence in dealing with the various dangers. I shall put in my everything and take a gamble. If I succeed, my human race can live on for eternity. Luo Feng transformed into a streak of light and charged into that dark red abyss without further hesitation. Flying through the crimson waves, one could feel how distorted time and space were. There was a feeling of flying through the universe tunnel. There was a flash of light. Before him was a hall faintly enshrouded by a light, white mist. The material of the hall was the same as that of the passageway of the boat of Mausoleum, and the various materials within the cabins were all suffused with a deep grey. Inside the hall, there was Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, Jittery Sea Master, Liu Ju Master, and another 4 Universe Masters. All 8 of them turned over to look. Luo Feng flew over right away. Milky Way Horde Leader, you have cultivated for only a dozen eras, which is extremely short, and you dare to come here. Dear Bug Master laughed. We were just discussing whether Milky Way would come or not, Shadow Dust Master said with a very kind look. If I were you, with this being the primal universe, and with Doomsday still 2 reincarnation eras away, I would still be able to live for so long. So long. With such a short cultivation period, but such great achievement, there is no need for you to come and fight it out with us. Actually, you can still make a full retreat now. Since I have come, I will not back away, Luo Feng said casually. Humph. Being here is the same as courting death, Jittery Sea Master said, shooting Luo Feng a hostile look. Since our junior here wants to die, there is no need to bother about him, Red Lark Master also said in a hostile tone. The Skeleton Clan was originally a crazy and cold race. They were only united among their kind. They treated the rest of the world with equal enmity. Especially Luo Feng, who has such a high achievement even though he had only cultivated for a dozen eras. For him, there was an additional trace of jealousy. Actually, out of everyone present, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Red Lark Master, who had chosen to try their luck and take the risk in coveting the inheritance, were the ones who hated Luo Feng the most. They were well aware that the selection of an heir normally placed much emphasis on areas such as improvement, speed, and comprehension level. One had cultivated for a dozen eras, and another had cultivated for close to 3 reincarnation eras, yet their achievements were comparable. Who would Duandong River choose? It was needless to say. Now, they could only hope that the methods that Duandong River left behind were unable to determine how long a great being had lived. Yet they all felt that Duandong River was too unfathomable, so they were full of uncertainty when it came to him. More of them prayed that Luo Feng would back out as early as possible. When all 9 of them, including Luo Feng, had gathered in that misty hall, and were all engaged in a heated exchange of sarcastic remarks, an intangible energy suddenly started to gather by their side. Eventually, it gave form to a figure. This was the green-haired man, Duandong River. All 9 have arrived. Duandong River's gaze swept across the 9 great beings, and he nodded. Let's begin with the first round of selection. Selection. Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, and Luo Feng all felt knots within their chests. No one dared to claim that he would be able to pass the selection. Rise. Duandong River pointed at the somewhere far on the ground of the hall. The ground suddenly split in half. Then a strange machine gradually emerged from beneath. It was entirely dark red in color. On its surface were many secret engravings of various laws. The secret engravings were so mystical that they made every great being present go dizzy due to a lack of understanding. A crack suddenly appeared on the Magicube instrument to reveal a door. Go in one at a time, Duandong River said right away. Selection will be done one at a time. Only one can enter each time. Let's begin. The 9 great beings looked at one another. Who should go first? The strange and unpredictable Magicube instrument looked quite dangerous. At that moment, not a single great being present was willing to be the first to enter. Duandong River pointed at Dear Bug Master. You, go in. The other universe masters from the first reincarnation era relaxed instantly, and even started jesting. This is merely the start of the selection process. Dear Bug Master will succeed for sure. Yes, how can this be of any difficulty to Dear Bug Master? Dear Bug Master merely smiled. Without a word, he walked toward that Magicube instrument and stepped into it. Soon, a cracking sound was heard. The doors of the Magicube instrument shut. The secret engravings on the surface of the Magicube instrument lit up. Bouts of strong energy waves were churning inside the Magicube instrument, and the entire Magicube instrument went from an initial dark red to a dazzling, incandescent white. What is going on in there? Luo Feng grew tense. Selection. What was being selected? Everything was unknown. From inside, dear Bugmaster did not make a single sound, or perhaps he was shouting and roaring in pain, but no sounds were transmitted out. In short, because nothing could enter the Magicube instrument, the rest outside could not help feeling anxious. A moment later, the door opened. A figure walked out from the Magicube instrument. It was dear Bugmaster. Doubt was written all over his face, which the other 8 Universe Masters did not understand. It seemed like something had happened to dear Bugmaster when he'd gone in. That would explain his expression. First round of selection, qualified. Duan Dong Master took one look at dear Bugmaster. Instantly, dear Bugmaster's face showed his delight. Dear Bugmaster, what is inside the instrument? Liu Ju Master asked. Congratulations, dear Bugmaster. I'm not sure. What's in there? Sorcerer Sprite also asked. There were the only 2 females present, and at that moment, both had spoken up. Go in and find out for yourselves, dear Bugmaster finished curtly and stood by the side. Anyway, he had made it through this ridiculous selection process, so naturally, he would be able to relax and wait by the side. Duan Dong River's gaze swept through the remaining 8. Next. I'll go next. Jittery Sea Master's eyes flashed a murderous glint as he took one big step forward. Seeing that a great being had volunteered himself, Duan Dong River simply stood there without a word and watched in silence. Jittery Sea Master walked to the door of the Magicube instrument, hesitated for a split moment, then with one step forward, he went in. The door shut. Soon after, the secret engravings on the surface of the Magicube instrument lit up again. Luo Feng and company waited in silence. What was going on inside the instrument? After a short moment, the door opened, and Jittery Sea Master walked out. Similarly, he, too, wore an expression full of doubt. Duan Dong River looked toward Jittery Sea Master, and with a tinge of harshness in his eyes, he said coldly, "You, disqualified." This caused the other great beings to feel a sudden tremble in their hearts. Disqualified. Disqualified. I'm disqualified. Why am I disqualified? Jittery Sea Master grew so anxious that he could not hold back himself as he blurted out, I have lived through almost 3 reincarnation eras. Even though that dear Bugmaster has lived much longer than me, the only advantage he had over me was that he owned a supreme true treasure. That's why he's a little stronger than me. Why am I disqualified? This was the one chance that the skeleton clan had. Jittery Sea Master was reluctant to give it up. Shut your mouth. Duan Dong River shouted. Next. Duan Dong River looked at the other 7. The only one willing to volunteer, Jittery Sea Master, had unexpectedly been disqualified. This made the remaining 7 feel so cautious that they did not dare volunteer themselves. You? Duan Dong River pointed at Liu Ju Master. Liu Ju Master, qualified. Rock Giant Master, disqualified. Shadow Dust Master, qualified. Sorcerer Sprite Master, qualified. Golden Square Master, qualified. Jittery Sea Master, disqualified. Red Lark Master, disqualified. Duan Dong River finally pointed towards Luo Feng. You? Was the order intentional or unintentional? No one really knew, because after Jittery Sea Master's failed attempt upon volunteering his turn, the rest of the great beings' turns were all decided by Duan Dong River, who pointed out who was next in line. Luo Feng held his breath and walked toward that Magicube instrument. Then he walked past the door and entered. Inside the instrument was an individual void space. Luo Feng was suspended within the void space as he observed his surroundings. There was no exit at all. Streaks of distorted secret engravings started appearing within the void space. Dazzling white secret engravings were distributed all over the void space as bouts of strange and unpredictable energy appeared instantaneously. This energy tried to penetrate Luo Feng. Even though he had Star Tower to guard his soul and crazy demon extermination godly armor to protect his body, they were not useful. This strange and unpredictable energy penetrated his godly body, and at that moment, Luo Feng felt as though all his secrets were revealed. The invisible, strange power continued to penetrate within his body. It penetrated every inch of godly power, and eventually merged with Luo Feng to become a complete whole. A short moment later, the distorted secret engravings in the void space started to dissipate, and the strange energy completely disappeared. A door appeared before him in that void space. Luo Feng took a step and passed the doorway to enter the hall outside. What happened inside the Magicube instrument earlier still left Luo Feng filled with doubts. There were slight changes in the expressions of Dear Bug Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and a few others who had passed the first round of selection earlier, as this was the first time Duandong River Asterisk who had smiled since the very beginning. Smile. Not right. Something is not right. Given how the various great beings judged, this Duandong River must be of a very cold character. This shadow that he left behind must have been compatible with his character. You. Duandong River pointed toward Jittery Sea Master, Red Lark Master, and Rock Giant Master. The three of you, quickly take your leave. If you do not leave now, you may be annihilated on your way. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master looked at one another with great reluctance. All of the skeleton clan had been eliminated. Rock Giant Master was a rock-type special life form. He also looked at Liu Ju Master and whispered, Liu Ju, Rock Giant will no longer be able to protect you. Do take great care. Lord Duandong River, would you be able to tell us why both of us did not pass? Jittery Sea Master could not hold back his question. Not from my clan, and yet you wish to inherit something from a pulse on my Duandong River. Dream on. Get lost. Duandong River said with hostility. Your clan. Luo Feng, Dear Bugmaster, and the others were greatly shocked. Strictly speaking, the 6 great beings who had passed the selection were not from the same clan, or even not fully beings of the flesh and the blood type. For instance, Liu Ju Master was a plant life form, yet she had still passed the selection. Clan. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master trembled. This was the reason. There was big trouble, then. If both of them failed for this reason, then even if other great beings from Skeleton Clan were to come, they would fail just the same. Still not leaving. Duandong River's eyes were brimming with coldness. Let's go. Jittery Sea Master and Red Lark Master gritted their teeth, transformed into light streams and dashed out. Giant Rock Master, after bidding farewell to Liu Ju Master with a most unwilling heart, also dashed out and flew into the crimson-red streaks of light. Coursing along the crimson-red streaks of light, with the passing of time and space, the 3 quickly arrived at the control room in the hall they were at previously. Humph! Jittery Sea Master lowered his head and looked at the deep crimson passageway. With gritted teeth, he said, if that is the reason, doesn't it mean that no one from Skeleton Clan will be able to succeed? If that is the case, our Skeleton Clan will not be able to succeed at all, Red Lark Master said with a voice dripping with hatred. Let's just spread the news. Let the various groups of powers know. Let a large number of great beings make their way here. What we of the Skeleton Clan cannot achieve, we shall not let the Divine Eye Clan achieve easily. After all, out of the 6 who qualified, 3 were from the Divine Eye Clan. How could the Skeleton Clan look on while the Divine Eye Clan was on their way to achieving something they could not? Within the Misty Hall, Duandong River looked at the remaining 6 and said, if you are not from my clan, naturally, you do not qualify for the inheritance. However, this is merely the simplest round of selection. Also, it is the only safe round. What comes next will involve life and death dangers. If you are afraid, you can still choose to retreat now. All 6 of them, Dear Bug Master, the 3 Universe Masters from Divine Eye Clan, Liu Ju Master and Luo Feng, remained silent, but no one retreated. You've got to be kidding. Perhaps many things would go through their minds when they just started to make choices, but once they had made their decisions, why should they flinch? From the moment they took their first steps on the path of a great being, death and crises were never far away. Perhaps they might die with much unwillingness, but not a single one would fear death. For the powerful inheritance of this ancient civilization, they would all rather give their best shot to fight for it. Good. Duandong River nodded. Follow me. Duandong River turned and walked toward another side door of that foggy hall. The side door automatically opened. Duandong River walked in. Although Dear Bugmaster, Luo Feng, Shadow Dustmaster, and the other three great beings all had doubts about where they were heading, they still followed his lead. Following behind Duandong River, the group walked along a wide path for a short moment before they were completely blocked by a floodgate. Duandong River continued walking until he was standing right before the floodgate. Then he stopped. Wait a little while. The floodgates will open, and you all will continue along this corridor. Duandong River's gaze scanned Luo Feng and company. So long as the six of you are able to walk all the way down this corridor, in a straight line, and make it to the next hall alive, you will be considered to have passed the most basic level of the selection process, and can start to get connected to the inheritance. Inheritance. All six of them, including Luo Feng, Dear Bugmaster, and Shadow Dustmaster, made a shudder as their eyes lit up. So long as they could walk all the way down this corridor, and make it to the next hall alive, they would be considered to have passed the selection process, and start getting connected to the inheritance. They were all very excited, but all six were also aware that Duandong River's inheritance was very powerful, so the selection process would not be simple. Meaning to say, this corridor would truly be a death corridor. And amongst them, there would likely be someone who would be annihilated. Everyone had to give their utmost best. 6 of you. As you make your way down this corridor, you can use your weapons, and you can use every technique and method you know, Duandong River instructed slowly. All you have to do is to make it to the next hall alive. Duandong River turned to look at the floodgate and pointed to it. Raise it. The heavy, large floodgate rose slowly, revealing a wide, deep passageway that seemed to have no end. This made Dear Bugmaster, Luo Feng, Liu Ju Master, and the other three all frown. What dangers awaited them within this death corridor? What methods had Duandong River, from a great ancient civilization, deployed for his selection process? Once they failed the selection process, they would have to face the danger of death. The easiest stage of the selection process was the one before them now. All they had to do was to stand on a Magicube instrument for a short while. If they did not pass, they could leave right away. You. 5 of you, go in. Duandong River pointed at 5 great beings. Us? Me? All 5 of us go in together. There was an uproar. All 5 of them, Dear Bugmaster, Liu Ju Master, Shadow Dust Master, Sorcerer Sprite Master, and Golden Square Master, registered shocked expressions. Duandong River had pointed at the 5 of them and asked them to go in together. Shadow Dust Master pointed at Luo Feng and could not help asking, what about him? What about Milky Way Horde leader, Luo Feng? Dear Bugmaster and the other 4 started to get a little unsettled. They could not doubt or change Duandong River's decision, but during the screening by the Magicube instrument earlier on, they had noticed Duandong River revealing a trace of a smile when it was Luo Feng's turn. At that time, they had found it suspicious. Furthermore, among them, Luo Feng's cultivation period was the shortest, at only a dozen eras. Was that not substantially short? The 5 of you will go in together, and he will go in alone, Duandong River said coldly. Why? Are you unwilling to? Then leave. Now, you are still able to leave this place alive. If you do not leave, the 5 of you must quickly make your way in. If you don't enter, you may be disqualified. Dear Bugmaster, Liu Ju Master, and the 3 great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked at one another, then took one glance at Luo Feng. Let's go. Let's go. 5 figures entered the corridor at the same time. The heavy and wide floodgate lowered with a loud crash. The corridor was sealed once again. By the entrance of the floodgate, only Duandong River and Luo Feng remained. Duandong River looked at Luo Feng. Once you enter, there will be no chance for retreat. Luo Feng nodded, but many thoughts were rising in his mind. The other 5 went in together. But he was to enter alone. Why was he so special? Could it be Duandong River really looked at him in a different light? Or was there a special form of danger awaiting him? Was this a blessing, or a curse? Within the corridor, dear Bugmaster, Liu Ju Master, and the 3 great universe masters of Divine Eye Clan looked behind them at the floodgate that was once again lowered. Their expressions were slightly different than before. The situation does not look promising, Shadow Dust Master said in a shrill voice. His eyes flashed with a murderous glint. If an heir was to be chosen, then considering someone like Luo Feng, who has cultivated for only a dozen eras to attain such high achievements, to those like us, who have cultivated for close to 3 reincarnation eras to attain such high achievements, only a fool would not choose Luo Feng. I suspect that the weird Magicube instrument test was not only testing our blood lineages and life characteristics, it was most possibly detecting our lifespans, too. The 5 of them were shocked. That was right. No one knew what that weird instrument actually screened them for. It must have detected some unique characteristics. Shadow Dust Master laughed coldly. If not, why would Duandong River let out such a rare smile? Apparently, he must be very satisfied with Luo Feng, but why? I think the instrument must have detected that Luo Feng has only lived for a dozen eras, and has the shortest period of cultivation. Such an outstanding talent with an extremely short period of cultivation, even to the 3 reincarnation eras, he is unbelievable. Even if we were to compare him within the ancient civilization, I think he would still be phenomenal. With such an extraordinary talent appearing to inherit his legacy, of course he would be greatly pleased. Thus, the differential treatment. Right? True. That is highly possible. One by one, they spoke their minds. Even dear Bug Master nodded in agreement. They were all of high positions and were clear that when it came to choosing disciples, there would never be absolute fairness. Once they set their eyes on a certain disciple, during any selection process, they would always give differential treatment. But what else can we do? Now that the 5 of us have to go through this corridor together, there is no way we can plant accidents along Luo Feng's way. Golden Square Master shook his head. I think Duandong River must have thought about that. That's why he separated Luo Feng from us. Even if we had any plans in mind, we will not be able to execute them now. Dear Bug Master shook his head. Let's go. Let's not think further. This is the inheritance Duandong River left behind. We can only act according to his wishes. We can find another opportunity to deal with Luo Feng. Right now, there is simply no chance at all. We can only move forward from here. This death corridor. There is a possibility we might not even be able to make it through. Breaking through the death corridor, everything can be used. Dear Bugmaster, with your supreme true treasure, you have a much greater chance. Humph. Dear Bugmaster said no more and flew ahead right away. Liu Ju Master also transformed into a streak of light and flew ahead. The other 3 from the Divine Eye Clan looked at one another, nodded slightly, and also continued advancing down the corridor. The only advantage to being part of Divine Eye Clan was that the 3 of them were of one heart. With joined hands, they would not be the least bit bothered even if they had to fight against someone like dear Bugmaster. At the other side of the floodgate, Luo Feng could also vaguely guess that Duandong River's method would have caused the other 5 universe masters to start targeting him as their enemy and treating him with hostility. They would see him as the greatest threat when it came to the inheritance. A strong wave was faintly transmitted from the other end of the floodgate, and Luo Feng could not resist turning over to take a look. He could only see that heavy floodgate. Next up, bouts of energy waves were transmitted over in a continuous stream. Apparently, some dangerous life and death situation was happening deep within this death corridor. Lord Duandong River, why would I be separated from the other 5? Luo Feng suddenly asked. Duandong River stood with his eyes closed, his entire being seemed to become an iceberg emitting cold air. Hearing Luo Feng's question, he opened his eyes and replied, "You only need to follow my instructions. Do not question why I decided on such a selection process. If you are displeased, you may leave. If you choose to leave now, you can still have the chance to live." With that, he closed his eyes again. Luo Feng could only put up with everything that he was asked to do. The Skeleton Clan was a pinnacle clan from the first reincarnation era. Within the vast universe ocean, there was a total of 4 miniature universes. Within the first miniature universe, 4 towering figures were scattered in 4 different directions. In mid-air, they looked at one another. These were the 4 Devil Masters from the Skeleton Clan. Red Lark Master stood in mid-air deferentially, as he reported what he knew to the 4 towering figures. "This was our personal encounter, Jittery Seas and mine. That was indeed a terrifying inheritance. An inheritance of a super great being named Duandong River *Wu, who was from the ancient civilization. This Duandong River *Wu, based on my speculation, must be a great existence that was only second to a so-called general from endless reincarnation eras ago, even before the completion of Universe Boat. His inheritance was definitely something major, and from the descriptions of it, throughout the entire ancient civilization, every generation will only have one heir for this Duandong River inheritance." "Jittery Sea," said a towering figure. "Is that true?" Jittery Sea Master, who was standing to the side, also replied deferentially, "Yes, that is the truth. The 2 of us were eliminated right from the very first stage of selection. The reason was simply because we do not belong to the same clan, so we do not qualify for the inheritance. Red Lark, whatever the 2 of you experienced, simulate a part of the memory you have into a projection for us." The 4 Devil Masters of Skeleton Clan were extremely solemn. This matter seemed very serious, even when heard in summary. It was clearly a great deviation from the norm. "Yes." Red Lark Master replied deferentially. A 3-dimensional projection appeared in mid-air. From the moment they charged into the boat of Mausoleum, the projection started to play. They saw images of Duandong River appearing within the hall and saying those words, and they started to get emotional. Then there was the inheritance, one line from Duandong River, "Not from my clan, and yet you wish to inherit something from a pulse on my Duandong River. Dream on. Get lost." These words sent chills into the hearts of the 4 Devil Masters. How loathsome. Such an opportunity, but, because of those 3 beings from Divine Eye Clan, we cannot enter. Loathsome. The 4 Devil Masters also let out ferocious roars. All were clearly furious. "Spread this." A hoarse voice shouted. "Let the news be spread to the 3 great reincarnation eras and the 2 Holy Land universes. Spread it to them all. Let the whole of Universe Ocean know. Let great beings from all over gather here. We must create chaos within the boat of Mausoleum, so that we can destroy Duandong River's inheritance. In short, so long as there is chaos, we Skeleton Clans stand a chance. Even if we have no chance, we can destroy it and deprive the Divine Eye Clan of their chance. The Divine Eye Clan and the Skeleton Clan are arch enemies sharing endless hatred for one another. We cannot give them such a great advantage. Spread the news." The other 3 Devil Masters roared furiously, all in extreme rage. Without hesitation, they started transmitting the news to various groups of powers within the entire Universe Ocean. Within the deep region of the Universe Boat's internal region, on Flame Ice Continent, inside the boat of Mausoleum. Luo Feng stood at one end of the floodgate, feeling the bouts of energy waves transmitted from the depth of the corridor, yet he was clueless as to what was happening inside. Duandong River suddenly opened his eyes, then whispered, "One annihilated. 4 left." Luo Feng was shocked. He involuntarily glanced at Duandong River. 1 annihilated. This video will end here.